You're listening to probably the best fitness and nutrition podcast, where we give you the most important fitness and nutrition advice you will ever need to know. Probably. Make sure to like us on Facebook and Instagram for fitness at Roof Fitness and for nutrition at Stacked Coaching. While you're there, give us a 5-star review, rate, review, and subscribe, and share it with your friends. What's up, what's up? This is probably the best fitness and nutrition podcast ever. I'm just checking. Where's the travel podcast? Truth be told, I did another one of those things where I forgot to turn the mics on, so here we are.
Womp womp.
Womp womp, recording in Utah. But always, sometimes when life gives you lemons, you can make some really awesome lemonade out of it. And it gave me the idea to record with my wonderful sister-in-law, Lauryn Burkhalter, who happens to be a Stacked client. Today,
Yay.
She hit 40 pounds lost since she started with us.
Yay!
I'm super jacked about that. She started with us 6 months ago. Of course, Emily, her sister, is her coach, which is crazy because I love my sister. Melissa, I know you're listening to this, but I could never coach you. In nutrition. So, ladies, how has the journey been? Well, let's back it up, okay?
Okay.
Lauryn,
Yes.
kind of give me some background information, and I know it, but I want to hear it from you. Kind of what led to you starting with Stacked and kind of this new leap forward with your nutrition?
Well, in 2014, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And after that, I did a complete overhaul of just my life in general. And, from my food intake to, the products I use in my home to what I put on my skin, just everything was, revamped and looked at and all that. It was a huge wake-up call. What led me to Stacked is, throughout my journey, I was giving a lot of effort, but, there is so much information out there, and it was completely overwhelming, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would hear one thing one day, and then I'd read something else another day, and I was just overwhelmed with information. And so that's truly what led me to Stacked, is that I needed my sister to help me. So I knew that, she would look at the research that I, give her or talk about with her and, give me her honest opinion and just have like a teammate on my health journey. And what better person to do that than my sister?
So, from looking at it from like a coaching perspective, I know there's a lot of people out there that, like your sister, like Lauryn, they're like trying hard, okay? Trying hard, like doing all the things, okay? Looking at her journey and how it can relate to people out there listening, what are some pitfalls that maybe people fall in when they are trying all the things? Or like, how would you look at it? It's not necessarily where Lauryn went wrong, because she was working her butt off to try to get to this point, but it's like the overwhelming information, or what happens when there's too much information out there that is not maybe directional.
Right.
First of all, I am so grateful that she asked for my help. I find that even people that know me, they come to Stacked for help, and if they know me, they either definitely want my help or they definitely don't want my help. Two camps, and neither one is wrong, but I'm really grateful that she trusted me with this. And it's been an awesome journey so far. So in terms of your question, I think that, it's hard to know what to do, and it's hard to stick to something for long enough to...
That's key right there.
Yeah. And we've talked a lot about just having resilience to the scale. And if the scale plateaus or if it's not moving in the direction that you want it to go for a week or even 2 weeks, like we talk a lot about proceeding forward, you know, where I think before you would be like, you'd get frustrated and say this isn't working, you know, and then try some other strategy.
Can I pause you right there for a second? So, like, I don't know, we talk about this. We have, every Wednesday, we have a stacked meeting with all of our coaches. And we talk about our clients. But one of the things we often talk about, and this is something that all of us, if you guys don't know, us as nutrition coaches deal with, is there is pressure for results from us, right? And so while the client needs to have scale resilience, like we have to have it with the client, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, we trust the process, but it's hard to get our client to trust the process because I know, like, hey, when you go through maybe 5 or 6 weeks in a row and there's not like significant weight loss, especially in the beginning, there's like an oh shit moment, right? And like I'm starting to sweat as a coach, and I see it across many of my clients, but it's like I know, like, hey, just hang in there. Once we figure out whatever the puzzle is for you and put those pieces together, the weight's going to come off. We just have to get to that point. So it is about being patient and putting your trust in us, but putting your trust in yourself that you can do the right thing. I know that's hard because you've gone through so many different things that didn't work.
Well, I think that I was feeling pressure because, you know, I had to get it right this time. I only wanted to go through this once with the cancer. I need to heal. And so I was feeling huge pressure to heal my body and to, you know, move forward in a healthy direction. And so when something wouldn't work, I was not giving it the time that I needed for it to work. I would just research, because I'm a big researcher, and I would move on to the next thing. And so it was just completely overwhelming.
What are some of the things that you researched and tried before you came to me?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I think just, I think I was on the right track. Yeah. But I think my problem was, you know, like I would go on vacation and that was an excuse to, like I've been working so hard, so now I'm on vacation, so I can eat whatever I want to have because, you know, I need a break. And that's, I was derailing myself. And so I think the biggest thing that I've learned, I truly think with the 6 months in, or, you know, I've developed habits with you. And I mean, I'm on vacation right now and I have a scale that I'm taking over to my aunt's for dinner. Yeah. And like, you know, I brought my scale and, you know, I still indulge in those things and try to have balance. But through the day, I'm making healthier choices so I can have a glass of wine tonight at dinner or, you know, whatever.
That's another difference that I see in you. Before, I saw you going hard and fast on a particular protocol that wasn't sustainable necessarily, and now it's more of a balanced approach. Yes. But it's a lifestyle change, and you're able to bring the habits to your life and not have this on-off switch when it comes to your nutrition, like getting burnt out and then going on vacation and be like, okay,
well, you know? I think that's, you harped on that. We talked about sustainability, and we always say it's stacked, like the best diet for you is the one you can keep, right? And so it's like all the different things you might have tried, whether it's keto, paleo, juicing, whatever, like any of those things, they work.
Yeah.
For a certain period of time, and then it becomes impossible to live life like that, right? And so then, and Emily talks about this when we talked about the, I think we talked about it in the metabolic adaptation podcast. It's like when, you know, you lose a little weight and then the rails come off, or the train comes off the tracks, like you gain that much more, and you keep doing this yo-yo back and forth that makes it really hard to create sustainable weight loss.
I think the other thing that Emily's helped me learn is patience. I think I lacked that before, and I think that she has helped me learn that, you know, sometimes in a week a pound is going to come off, or sometimes in a week, like, you know, it's ounces that are coming off.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, I do go hard and fast in the past, and I think that I've had to really learn patience through it. But through that patience, I mean, I freaking hit 40 pounds today. Like, that's awesome.
Huge.
Like, I was so excited. And so, you know, but that's because of patience and consistency.
Yeah.
You know, it hasn't been I've still had the balance. That's what I feel too. Like, there's still balance in my life, and that's huge.
Another thing that I think that you have worked hard on in this journey, you are such a helper and such a person that puts everybody else before yourself. And we've had conversations about that. Like, you cannot pour from an empty cup, so it's important that you prioritize yourself.
I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned through my cancer journey is self-love is the best thing that you can do.
It's a good metaphor is when you travel on a plane and they're giving you the safety protocols and they tell you to put your oxygen mask on before you secure everyone else. That's kind of what it has to be. Like, you need to be in check, ready to go, so that you can help everybody else. Because if you try to help everybody else and don't help yourself, you won't be there for the long haul to help everyone else.
That's exactly what I was doing before my cancer diagnosis. It was everybody else, and it was not me. I was the last one on the list.
Yeah. So we talked a lot about, like, stress management and about, you know, getting sleep and you know, it's not just about the food.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
We talked about, especially in our fitness world, we've talked about load versus capacity before, and the same could be said for weight loss. But one of the big factors in that capacity chart, or the load versus capacity chart, is sleep, diet, and stress. But sleep and stress are huge variants when it comes to weight loss.
Yeah.
That's it? Just and wink at me? You don't have anything to add? It's like,
it's true.
End scene.
It's true, and it's easier said than done. It's one of those practices that you have to bring to your life. It's not just like, okay, I'm going to manage my stress today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
process.
Yeah.
What has, like, other eye openers for you along the way? Like, maybe things you were doing before, you're like, oh shit, I could do this, or...
She knows.
I have one, just story. So do you remember what happened with your kidney stones? And thinking that it was increased protein, and just me, like, diving into research. So do you want to tell everybody what you were doing?
What was I doing?
Just supplementing with vitamin C, like...
Yeah, I was supplementing with vitamin C, like a huge long list of supplements to try to help support my body. But within that, and through Emily's research, I created kidney stones because I was doing a high dose again. And so that, you know, I can't tell you how much it means to me to have you, like, to come to that is going to go do research for me too, you know, and come up with a solution.
Can you talk about, because I know there's a lot of people out there, and when you research versus someone just researching at home, can you talk about those differences? Because there's a big difference.
Yeah, so I'll go to, like, Google Scholar and search for terms rather than just, like, generic Google, because when you do that, like, blog posts come up and articles come up that aren't researched, right? So I'll either go to PubMed or I'll go to Google Scholar. I found stuff on kidneys and vitamin C on PubMed and kidneys.com or something like that. And just knowing you and how much you do to support your overall health, I was like, I'll bet she's supplementing a lot, and that could be leading to it.
Yeah, I mean, side note, like, can you talk about how people randomly going off of blog posts in terms of their health or diet research, how that could be problematic and the reasons why?
It's just not reviewed. It's not studied. It's anybody can post about anything on the internet. So it's important that you verify your source.
Yeah, I mean, I see on Instagram a lot of people, it's influencers posting health and nutrition advice when they don't really know health and nutrition advice. So you need to have like a skeptic eye.
Yeah.
But also when we say research, PubMed and other things like that, it needs to be reputable sources.
Right.
And that's why I lucked out, because not only is my certified and trained coach, she's also my sister. So, that's, the best thing about this is just having a teammate to go through it with.
Yeah. Love that. And that's how I view coaching in general. A lot of people are like, especially when they start, they're like, I know that you're looking at my log and, I don't know, judging me or whatever. Like, it's not about that at all. Coaching is about being somebody's support and, cheering them through. And so it's not blowing the whistle and wagging your finger like a lot of people think. Or
what has been, Lauren, like, the funner things of going through this process? Like, oh shoot, I get to eat this, or I get to do this, or
I think for me, just finding the balance and something that is sustainable. And like, I'm a results person, so I came upstairs this morning and like barged in Emily's room and was like, I lost 40 pounds,
Right.
Like, that's fun to me, because like I have tried for so long and I am finally seeing the results that I wanted to see, and that to me is fun, because it just feels good. Like it's hard to lose weight, and it's hard to be on a program, it's hard to be healthy. Like, there's so much in our world, like we work so hard, and so to just see the results is fun.
Can we share some of the, like, what was difficult about getting your weight loss started?
Before Emily? Or
No, with Emily, like, changing from Prius to Hummer, and like the process you went with that. Can we talk about that?
We're slowly increasing your food intake.
Just go back and like what you noticed exactly when you started, because I think a lot of people,
what I was doing wrong.
No, not what you're doing wrong, but like what you saw the reason was with the metabolic adaptation. But let's start from square one. What you saw, because a lot of people experience this and they think the answer is to cut calories. Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about that, because that is translatable to.
Well, yeah, and I get the benefit of seeing Lauren eat like in person, because she's my sister. Like, it's not just some remote thing. Like,
can you tell everybody though what happened?
Well, I'm about to.
Like, we're
she did a lot of work to, like, the simple foods and the quality ingredients.
Right.
Like, she was doing all of that very well. I think habit-wise, it was sleep.
Yeah.
It was being too hard on yourself. We had lots of conversations about that. Like, she would send her tracker in, and all of her ratings would be super low, and I'm like, Lauren, like, you're not giving yourself enough credit.
Right.
And I think belief was part of it. I remember when you got to the 20 pounds loss mark, you shared with me, like, this is where I always get stuck. I don't think I can get past this. And I get
a lot of people that do that too. Like, this is where I plateau. I can't go past this.
Well, that's exactly where I did.
Yeah.
Before.
For a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I think
before. I would plateau at 20.
Yeah. And I think you stayed there for like a week and you freaked out and you were like, this is what always happens. I can't get past 20 pounds lost. And what did I say to you? Do you remember?
About the whoosh?
No, I was like, you've never had my support before.
Right.
Like, let's do this. Come on. Like, we worked a lot on just believing that it's possible. Your NEAT, we've worked on increasing your NEAT, which has been great too, because like you'll be like, I went on a walk with my son around the neighborhood. Yeah. You know what I mean?
For those of you who have never listened to our podcast before, because we will have we'll always get new people.
Yeah.
NEAT stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
It's basically all of the activity that you get outside of intentional workouts.
Right.
Can you talk about calories specifically?
calories
with
intake.
Lauryn, intake.
Yeah, we're slowly
Okay.
increasing her calories. Your protein intake has gone much higher.
Yes.
Much higher.
Very much higher.
Yeah.
They're like,
And that was hard in the beginning,
It
huh?
was very hard. It truly was hard.
And counterintuitive, because
Yeah.
I was asking you to eat past the point of hunger or fullness to get the protein in, and you just had to trust me that it would work.
I did trust you, but it also adapted quickly.
Yeah.
I want to dive into that though. I want you to specifically talk about when your sister first started weighing, when Lauryn first started weighing, and you're looking at her calories. Like, there's a couple of different things we see. Like, either one, someone is not being very accurate, or they are snagging, like eating things that aren't being tracked, or in your sister's case, they were just metabolically adapted to that low calorie count, which is Priya status. So
you were consuming
please
very little amounts of food. Like 900 calories, like very low. And that's why we've slowly increased. And it's counterintuitive, right? It's like the calories in, calories out stuff. But because we've increased your protein along with it, we've enabled your body to adapt to the higher calorie intake while lowering your weight.
Right.
So what typically happens, if you missed out on our metabolic adaptation podcast, is that when someone like that is consistently eating at low calories, and we see low calories, we see a lot of clients like this, the answer isn't just cut more.
Right.
Like, that's not what we do. We have to increase their metabolism. The only way you can increase their metabolism is by eating more food.
Slowly.
But you have to do it strategically. You have to do it slowly. You have to do it over time, and everything has to be in their right markers, right? But it is counterintuitive. Most people don't look at it like that, because when you think diet, you think I need to eat less.
Restrict.
But in this case, we needed to eat more.
Yeah.
But we do see this often. And now, what are we up to now? Do we know?
I don't have it memorized.
Do you know
For what?
how many calories you're eating now? Do you have any idea?
Calories is, I don't know.
More though. You feel like you're eating more?
Okay. Oh yeah, for sure.
Good.
Our calories right now is 1,400, but
there we go.
Got down a little bit because of surgery, but
Yeah. So you recently had surgery.
I did.
And so you actually lowered your calories?
We lowered it because I couldn't be as active as
Yeah.
So that was in response to it.
And that's important to take into account too. Like, we're constantly making adjustments based on what's happening in somebody's life.
Yeah.
You know? So it's not just you need to be eating this number of calories, like, go ahead. It's not a one-time calculation and that's it.
Yeah.
Adjustments need to be made.
There are all kinds of different things we do with clients. We might do carb cycling, calorie cycling, reverse diets, inverse diets, cutting, recovery phases, all that kind of stuff. But the journey is never linear, okay?
Yeah.
It is always up and down. If someone's going to go through like a stressful time of life, we might do something with their calories or even out their macronutrients.
Or make it more simple.
Yeah.
Right, and if someone, just in Lauren's case, she recently had surgery and had to back down her calories. And now we'll start to slowly build them back up.
Yep.
And so that's the benefit of having a coach and having someone with you, is that they can monitor all those things. Because it is not just like, hey, I'm going to cut and build, or stay cut, like all those different things.
I truly feel supported in this journey, and it's a good feeling. I haven't felt that before, so that is nice. And the other side of that is the accountability. I think is huge part of my success too, is having to, turn this in and account for be accountable to my sister, and so I think that's helped.
You know what I think is awesome is I don't get the sense that you were ever nervous to eat in front of your coach.
No.
because Emily, but I do get that sometimes because we are friends with a lot of our clients. We are in a lot of our clients, and they always joke because Bradley judging me
they're like
eating.
side-eye.
Yeah,
They're at a party.
Oh, don't judge me, and I'm like, no. I was like, look, I'm not even paying attention. I hope you enjoy whatever you pay. I will look at your tracker when it comes in. Like that's it. So.
We want people to enjoy their life, though. We don't want.
I think that's a huge message that y'all
Yes.
deliver to your community is that you are fans of balance.
Yeah.
And if that means having a piece of cake to celebrate a birthday or having a glass of wine, I think you're big components of that. That's important in life, is that balance and feeling like you can do those things.
I always say, like, we shouldn't live for our nutrition, but should live with it.
Right.
Or our nutrition should live for us.
Right.
There's definitely, like, big differences. And I think it takes a while to get to that point. As someone like myself who has struggled with food for a really long time, it is something that never ends. We are here in Utah right now. We are traveling up to Wyoming, where the three of us have no idea what our food situation is going to be like.
Eating out of a cooler.
We are really not.
Gonna eat Built Bars.
We are going to eat Built Bars for every meal. I wish Built Bar, if you're listening, would do it. But we're going to see if we can survive off Built Bars. But no, so like for me, and not so much for Emily, because she hasn't had like some of the struggles that I've had or Lauren has had, but there is anxiety for us.
Yeah.
Anxiety about like our food choices and stuff like that. So it is never ending. It's constant working on it, but I can tell you that it gets better over time. There's less stress, less anxiety over time, as long as you're practicing it all the time.
Well, and I think I feel like some of the anxiety goes away with continuing to track.
Yeah.
Like Emily asked me the other day in the car, she was like, "Are you going to track this week?" And I was like, "You know what? I am. I feel better doing that. Like, even if it's not perfect, even if I don't, measure everything, I have an idea of where I'm at through this week on vacation, and I feel supported. That takes the anxiety away for me, just to have an idea of where I'm at."
I love it. And those of you listening, like, I feel the same way as Lauren on a lot of things, but I have a lot of clients, and there are a lot of stacked clients that do not feel that way. They feel the opposite. So, and I'm all about what works for you. So there is no right or wrong way. There's the way that works for you.
Yeah, and I want to point out that I asked her what her plan was. I didn't tell her what her plan is.
Yeah.
And I think that is ultimately what we think about with each of our clients is like, how can we set this person up to eventually be their own coach? Like, their clients that have been working with me for a long time, they don't say, "Hey, what should I do?" They say, "Hey, this is my plan. Give me some accountability with it." And I say, "Cool."
Yeah.
I love it. All right, y'all. Well, this was fun. It's time to go eat some food. Literally, we're heading out there. So thanks for doing this, Lauren.
I appreciate it.
If you heard Lauren's story and you find yourself in a similar situation as her and you are interested in coaching, check out www.stackedcoaching.com. And for those of you, if you didn't know, we also have our Stacked and Jacked program where we will program your workouts for you as well with custom programming. So, all right. Peace out, y'all.
Bye.